KWLT's third semi-annual Bards at Home. This is hopefully the last one that we'll be doing online before we can return to our space here on 9 Princess Street. Now, it's been more than 2 years since the COVID pandemic forced KWLT and other theaters around the world to have to close. But like those communities, we did what we could and we brought things online. And I am so grateful to all of the bards who have performed at all 3 of our Bards at Homes, and everyone involved with all of KWLT's other online events, like March Madness and Telephone Madness, and our online workshops. But in a few weeks, that's going to change because we'll be coming back to 9 Princess Street with our first main stage, Falling Awake. Now, as much as I know we'd like to say that the pandemic is over, we know that it's not. And so in order to help make sure everyone is comfortable and accessible to come and see this new show, we'll be implementing some things to help make it safer and just more accessible to people who don't want to let their guard down at this stage in the pandemic. We'll be talking about that later on in the show. But for now, I would like to welcome everyone at home to our third semi-annual Bards at Home.
We're not in there tonight.
We're not in there tonight?
No, we're doing this from home.
Like again, in our living room?
Yes.
Like now?
Yes.
Whew, we made it. Here we are. For real this time, it's Bards at Home 3, the BA3 variant. We were not late for Bards in the end. We did not get sued by the estate of Benny Hill. Some good driving there. So we're ready to continue. So here we are with our third Bards. Now, what is Bards for people just joining us on this one? It is a variety show that we run out of Kitchener-Waterloo Little Theatre 2 or 3 times a year. We had 2 shows last year, and with any luck, we'll do 2 shows this year as well. For this Bards, we are hitting the sweet spot with 6 performers, 3 musical, 3 non-musical, and we'll have a 5-minute intermission after 3 of those acts. Also, I am thrilled to have with us the director of KWLT's next show, Falling Awake, to discuss that with us. So a great part of Bards, as I always say, is our audience. Now, we can't hear you directly today. We missed that, and we're looking forward to seeing you again. But we do know you're out there on about a 20-second delay. And we hope that you enjoy tonight. Before I do continue or start Bards itself, I would like to thank some people here. First off, I would like to thank KWLT for hosting us. They're not hosting us right now, but they're hosting us online and in spirit. If we were there in person, we'd have a jar out for donations. And so this is our jar right now, is I'm just going to ask you, if you can, feel it in your hearts, visit kwlt.org, donate, or whatever URL that might be that I can't see right now, and consider donating to KWLT. I would also like to thank Albert. Shout out to Albert O'Connor. He is our community manager in YouTube right now. Thank you to Nadia for being our production manager of Bards. Everything that's appearing and disappearing and moving around is Nadia's doing here. And lastly, I would like to thank Mel, who is, as always, our trivia master. She'll be running Trivia Corner in the interstitials between acts. Hello, Mel.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm at home. It's very warm.
It is very warm, yeah. It's like 26 degrees here, so I'm going to be drinking lots of water tonight.
Oh, it's up to 30 now in this part of my apartment.
Okay. So what do you have in store for us tonight?
Well, I have trivia. I hope everybody has been either reading or binging TV or doing a lot of thinking, because the 3 options tonight are in a this, that, or the other style of trivia, which I am totally stealing from Ask Me Another. You can participate by, there should be a link that will show up on the screen and that Albert will put in the chat. But to clarify, those 3 choices are titles of self-help books, or titles of episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, or the names of thought experiments.
Sounds good. I am excited for this. I'm going to have to recuse myself from speaking for some, or maybe all, because I think I'm a ringer for that Star Trek one. And a little
We'll
bit.
see.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it is. All right. Well, thank you. We've got that link in chat, and I think for every trivia session, which we'll do after each bard, we'll bring those QR codes back up so people can join in. Cool. Thank you, and we'll see you after each performer. All right. So with that, we're going to get started with our first performer. Now, our first performer is a longtime member of KWLT. She's performed in several plays for over a decade before moving to the United Kingdom in 2019. Since then, she's been a cheerleader for us from afar. Most recently, she raised money for KWLT by writing and performing in Stuck at Home, the socially distanced holiday pantomime, which I have to say, by the way, for 2 years now, has been a holiday tradition in my household, and 2 years makes it a tradition. So here's to many more. These days, she creates music under the name of Care McRibs in her free time between work and cuddling her dog Penny. Will everybody please give a round of applause to Carrie McNabb?
Hi there, hi Bards. My name is Carrie McNabb. I am so very excited to be back and performing at Bards. The last time I performed at Bards was in 2016, where I said that if I couldn't learn how to play a song on a guitar, I was going to smash the guitar on the floor at KWLT. Fortunately, I did learn how to play a song, but I did still smash a little toy guitar just for fun. You'd think that experience would have inspired me to continue my guitar practice, but it did not. But I've always been inspired by music, and I've always wanted to write my own music. So since the beginning of lockdown, I've been writing my own music using virtual instruments. So the first song that I am performing for you today was one of those songs, and it's about the heat death of the universe, which I just thought of as such a hauntingly beautiful concept that I wanted to write a song about it. Thank you. Say hi to Penny. Our love cannot withstand the cold is in the air. The heat that once maintained us, I remember with despair. Our dynamic between us is frozen to the core. Our energy is all gone, like the closing of the door. Heat death of the universe is coming to an end. Heat death of the universe, we can no longer pretend. Our bodies may resist and crave the prior flame, but it's the heat death of our universe. Life will never be the same. I had always thought our end would be in flames, one big last finale, fitting hand for all our games. But fate would have much different, a chill and not a roar, a lesson for the ages. Anything can be no more. Heat death of the universe is coming to an end. Heat death of the universe, we can no longer pretend. Our bodies may resist and crave the prior flame, but it's the heat death of our universe. Life will never be the same. Well, that's it now. Our story is all done. From Big Bang till the end, we had a decent run. Heat death of the universe is coming to an end. Heat death of the universe, we can no longer pretend. Our bodies may resist and crave the prior flame, but it's the heat death of our universe. Life will never be again. Thank you. Thank you. So the next song, the last song I'm going to perform for you today is called Quit That Shit. And it was inspired by the Great Resignation. And I think whether it be bad relationships or bad jobs or just bad experiences, I think quitting can have a very negative connotation, and the label of quitter can be very negative. But I actually see it as this sort of act of rebellion and this act of self-care and standing up for what's important to you. So that was my inspiration for for this song. They say resilience is a virtue, commitment is a key, but I don't see those epitaphs standing up for me. So take those empty platitudes and leave them at the door, 'cause I don't wanna hear them anymore. There's only one thing left to do. Quit that shit. so much, very much, Bards. It was so lovely being here. Thank you to Josh and Nadia and everyone behind the scenes for making Bards so very special. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all very soon. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And hello, Carrie.
Hello, it's so nice to be here.
Hello, it's nice to see you. Thank you for those songs. It's so glad you could join us. That in case we couldn't tell from the light outside your window came from a little bit earlier today, but you're joining us right now.
Yes.
What time is it there in the UK?
It's 1:15 a.m.
Thank you for joining us.
It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure.
I've got one or two messages here, actually. You asked for people to say hi, Penny. Brian beat you to it. He posted that before you even said say hi, Penny. And we just had a flood of messages of people saying hi, but also some people talking about their own stories of quitting and just how good it has been for them. So, yeah, thank you. I think that song really speaks to a lot of people.
Yeah. It's such an interesting time, I think, in the way that people are prioritizing what's important to them. You know, we've had such a period of grief and loss over the last couple of years, and also a period of just, you know, thinking about what we need out of life, what we want out of life, and sometimes that means saying no to the things that aren't serving us.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I know these two songs aren't the only ones that you've put together lately. Do you have more, and where are those? And is anything else? Do you have more songs in you coming out?
I do. So I've got a bunch of songs up on the SoundCloud, and I've my YouTube has a few videos that I've made from a variety of my songs. I set myself a challenge in 2020, maybe it was 2020. It was the start of it, to write one song. Yeah. Or maybe it's 2021. What is time? But write a song every month. So I've over time, it must have been 2021. Over time, I've written, you know, a set number of whatever that is times months. But it's like such a great motivator, because at the end, the 30th day of the month, if your song's not perfect, well, that's it. That's what you've got. So it's kind of combating my inner perfectionist to just, you know, whatever is ready to go is ready to go.
Yeah. So you've been out in the UK for almost 3 years now, right? More than 2, little less than 3.
Yes, yes.
I do want to ask, because I like asking this question, what food or restaurant or whatever do you miss most from Canada that's really hard to get out there?
Oh, there is a restaurant in Mississauga called El Mariachi, and it has the best Mexican food that I've had ever. And I think about that place once a month at least, if not more. It's very challenging, especially where we are in England. We're in the Midlands, to find sort of Mexican food. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I wouldn't think, what do you miss most about Canada? Mexican food. But in England, that does make sense, I suppose. Yeah. Before we go, I actually have a question for you. I wasn't warning you about this. It's a bit of a personal trivia question for you. And it is, you might be the farthest bard from Kitchener-Waterloo. So the question is, do you think you are the farthest bard? And I'm going to let you know that we had Russ from Victoria, so the West Coast, and we also had Polly from Edinburgh.
Yeah, I feel like Edinburgh's...
What's the biggest distance there? Or is it you?
I think, you know, given that Edinburgh, I think, is more north than where we are in Nottingham, I would guess that Polly is probably the furthest, but I wouldn't be surprised if just that triangulation calculus, whatever it is, makes me the furthest.
I looked these up ahead of time. So Victoria's 3,315 kilometers away from KW. Edinburgh is a monstrous 5,420. But Nottingham is 5,666 kilometers away. So you are the farthest bard.
Yes. Put that
new record.
That achievement.
Record. Yes. Before we move on, was there anything else that you wanted to say?
Just thank you so much for having me. Please, if you can, donate to KWLT. KWLT does such great work. And go see the upcoming show, because it looks like it's going to be amazing.
Cool. Thank you so much, Carrie. Maybe you'll stay up for the rest of the show.
I think so. I'm going to try, especially for the trivia. The trivia sounds really interesting.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff. So cool. We'll see you later on, and take care. Good night. All right. So our next performer has taken to the. Oh no, we were talking about trivia, and I forgot about trivia. Now for some trivia. Sorry, Mel. It's been over a year since I've done one of these. I almost forgot about trivia.
Carrie offered you the smoothest segue.
I am terrible at segues. We should know by now. But here, it's all yours.
Well, anyway, so your first question. Question 1, or title 1, is Achilles and the Tortoise. Is that a self-help book, an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, or a thought experiment?
All right. And so again, people who'd like to join in can scan that QR code or click on the link that's floating around there in YouTube, and they'll be treated to a Google form.
Yep.
All
And
right.
we'll see all the answers at the end. Do you have any guesses, or do you not want to give anybody any clues?
My concern is I'm sure I will be able to recognize a TNG episode title from like 100 pages. So if I remain silent, you know that it's a TNG episode. I think this is a thought experiment, though.
What kind of thought experiment do you think it is?
I want to say it's one of those racing ones, like a Zeno's paradox. Like, can anything ever come twice as close to something else that's, in this case, moving faster? But I think Zeno's arrow is if it's stationary.
Okay. Well,
Either that, or it could be a self-help book, I guess. Achilles is really weird. I could think of the tortoise and the hare being like, "Hey, don't hurry through life. Take your time. You move at your own pace."
Like an
But
Achilles heel
is a
type.
really weird swap out for a hare. Yeah, I do not know.
Well, let's go to question 2 then. All Good Things. Is that a self-help book, a Star Trek The Next Generation episode title, or a thought experiment? I thought I'd include some fun photos, mostly animal themed.
I do love that photo. Is that a Shiba Inu or a Corgi? I'm not good enough with dog brands.
I don't know. I would guess a corgi, but maybe people in the chat will know.
Yeah. All right. And why don't we do one more question?
Yeah. Number 3, Hollow Pursuits. Is that a self-help book, an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, or a thought experiment? And here's a webcomic.
Here's a
Just
webcomic.
for your entertainment on the side.
Humans are clumsy. It's true.
If we've learned anything during the pandemic.
Yes. All right. Why don't we move on to our next performer, and we'll see you after that, Mel. Thank you.
See ya.
All right, back to just me. So where I was going to say, our next performer has taken to Bards many times with all sorts of acts. She's back tonight to perform a selection of poems from her recently published collection, Socks and Elephant Shoes. This is her debut collection, and it centers around themes of love, loss, and depression, and survival through the journey of grief. If these themes may be a bit too much for you at the moment, this season, she understands that you may want to tune out for the next 7 to 10 minutes. Now, she's chosen poems that start in darkness and grow steadily towards light, and she promises that nothing she reads is going to be too sad. This is her first time reading poetry for an audience, so friends, please put your hands together for Emily Crawford.
Hello, friends. As Josh said, I am going to be reading some poems from my recently published book, Socks and Elephant Shoes. I published it this year at the end of March. Please ignore the cat, whichever side he's on. I tried to move him. He doesn't want to move. So yes, please feel free to tune out if you need to. I completely understand. It is published under E.A. Crawford. You can't really see it. Not Emily Crawford. So if you are looking for it, it is on Amazon. And I've selected 9 poems to read today, but there are 21 total in the selection. So the first 2 are kind of a couple. They go together a little bit, and they base around the time that we found out of my father's passing. We actually didn't find out the day he died. We found out 2 days later from a a work friend, a colleague of his who we've never met before, who showed up at our house and was offering her condolences. And we kind of were like, what is happening? So the first one is based on the day that he actually took his life. It's called Living. The day you left, we didn't bat an eye. I feel like we should have known in some way, felt your absence grow stronger, your essence wisp away from this world. We did not. And that is where the problems begin. We are living our lives, but there are people out there who are not living their lives, are wishing they were not living, are not living. Their brain will tell them they are alone, though they are not alone, they still feel alone. And we should believe their feelings, because regardless of our own perceptions, their perceptions are real. Sometimes we need to pause living our lives, and help someone else to just be alive. And then the second one of this couplet is called Dying, and it is based on the day that we actually found out of my father's passing. The day we heard of your passing, our eyes did bat plenty. Our eyelashes shook heavy, weighted and damp, working to protect us from the sting of the salt, from the sting in our hearts, where you are now missing. What a way to view it, passing, as if death were an old friend just passing by, as if you'd be coming round again, just like old times, like the friend knocking on our childhood door, wearing an unknown face, knocking us down with unwelcome gifts of condolences we did not know we needed, we did not want. As if your living hadn't stopped, as if our lives didn't end along with yours, even if our timing was out of sync. We were still here. Regardless of your perception of our attention, of us going on living, as you convinced yourself you shouldn't be alive, as part of us died with you that day. And we cursed ourselves, saying we should have been there. Okay, I promise they aren't all this heavy. I picked 4 from the first half and 4 from the second half so that we kind of end a little, and 1 in the middle. So we kind of end a little lighthearted. This next one is one of my favorites from the collection. It's called Days Gone By. And it's about that moment when you find out someone is gone from your life and you kind of reminisce on all those memories you've had with them throughout their time with you. Memories. They play in my mind, my life flashing by as they say it does when death comes for you. They fail to mention how those flashes also come for others when you leave their lives for good. Putting socks on your feet, big hands over small, renting movies on Friday night, old country songs, hiding away, alcohol, hospital trips, watching you fall into the depths of your own mind, loneliness, darkness, living, knowing all we have left are days gone by, trying our best, remembering, wishing we could forget, counting our regrets, too many times, not enough times, there is never enough time. Okay, one more that is like super, I guess 2 more, because the middle one is also kind of, this one's a little bit better though. A little bit. This is one of the favorites that I put a post up on social media to have some people who have read the book choose some of the poems read today, and this is one of the ones that got picked, so I'm super excited to share it. It's called Understanding. Sometimes I understand you. The world gets heavy. I'm not holding it yet. It feels like the entirety of its mass rests on me and me alone. I am Atlas, and I know, I recognize you. I feel you here again, but gone, as I remember the loneliness that was left when loneliness took you. And I refuse to give that loneliness to anyone else. Okay. Moving into the little bit better territory after this next one. This next one is the longest poem in the book. It's right in the middle, and it's probably the oldest. It's gone through edits and revisions for probably like the last 10 years. I can't even remember when I first wrote my first draft of this one. It is called Contagion. My chest constricts with guilt like claustrophobia in a crypt, as if I were the one depreciating on the inside for those long years, as if somehow I could have made my appreciation known, as if that could have brought you beside me today. I feel the stab of a knife at every self-deprecating joke, the casual banter that surrounds me as my companions grow comfortable with my presence, yet I grow uncomfortable in their naive conversations. I am ruined by you, but forgive you nonetheless, because you left culpability behind after the final traces of mourning disappeared. And we are donated the self-diagnosis until doctors agree that the anterior cingulate cortex is suffering in self-neglect. Decreased serotonin leads to decreased norepinephrine, leading to decreased relationships. Comorbidity replaces camaraderie. Depression spreads like a physical disease, like a cough or a sneeze in the months of the snow, until we're only left with questions of our own that we don't know how to answer, that keep repeating in our mind until they become a daily dose, until we forget that they are questions and they simply become life. And you become understood. Then all become as detached as assumed contemplations, until the realization that their once comfortable presence is now uneasy to attend. Monoamine, mono, one, alone, isolated, despite being enveloped by the company of those who wish to embrace us. There is no cure for the self-quarantined. They become oil on canvas, waiting at eternity's gate. And the course of contagion begins again, because they believe they are alone, just as you thought you were alone. Okay, on to some happier stuff now. I know it's pretty heavy, but that is the content of the book, so I apologize for that. This next one was voted a favorite by so many people. I'm so excited that so many people like this one, because it's also one of my favorites. I really like it. It's called Dandelions, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as my social media people have enjoyed it. The world will glow if you look at it right. Darkness creeps in all the corners, but what we don't realize is that sometimes darkness is just shadows dancing in the light. It can consume you, just as nature consumes everything in its path, dandelions sprouting between sidewalk cracks. But even consumption becomes a beautiful thing. Yellow against gray, strength, perseverance to grow, flexibility, bending in the wind but not breaking, pushing through a barrier solid as concrete, never ceasing, always reaching for the light. Okay, I gotta go forward a few pages here. Another one that was a crowd favorite. People seem to like the happier ones a little bit better than the sad ones, but I'm kind of happy about that too. This next one is called Alive, and it kind of pairs a little bit with understanding, but it's more about taking those moments of understanding and remembering that they're not everything in life, that there is more, and there are plenty more moments to be happy about. It's called Alive. I don't know if I said that already. I am alive. Am living my life despite thinking at one time in this grand old life of mine how much it hurts to be alive. Yet, I have thought at many times in the small moments of this life of mine how much more it gratifies to be fulfilled with life, to be filled with life, to just be a life alive. Okay. The last two, very similar to the first two, kind of pair together in the way that they were written. The first one is about a moment in life that I have thought about a lot, that was something every girl usually dreams of, that I will never get in the same way that most girls do. It's called Dancing with You. There will be a time I won't dance with you. Tears in our eyes, serenity, empty yet filled where you are missing. Warmth in our hearts, radiating, revivifying the air where you are with me. A promise to always be there, as if you could be gone. The movement of a waltz, empty arms, never holding their partner, a dance in white for the first time, for the last. You could never be gone, ne'er could I be done dancing with you. Okay, and finally, the last one I am sharing with you guys tonight is a partial namesake of the book. It is called Elephant Shoes, and it is one of the most cherished memories I have of my father, and also one of the last things that he wrote to me in the note that he left me. There was a time I sat across from you. Laughs in our bellies, settling yet threatening still to return. Smiles in our eyes, glimmering, gleaming with the air as we shared a secret together. A promise never to forget, as if I could forget. The movement of a whisper, words never touching our tongues, a phrase said silently, becoming something else, but meaning everything. I could never forget you, ne'er could I forget our elephant shoes. All right. Thank you guys for being an excellent audience, even though I cannot physically hear you. It's quite strange, but I can see that you guys have commented. I was reading, so I'll have a chance to read through those after. If you liked what you heard and you want to read more, there is 21 poems in the collection. I read 9 today. It is available on Amazon, but also through me. If you are near me / will be seeing me in the near future, I will be in KW on June 11th and June 26th. So if you want to get in contact with me, if you want a copy from me and not Amazon, then please do so. I am very happy to share and sign whatever. It definitely was years in the making and a passion project for me for sure.
Emily, thank you so much for sharing all of those. I think you chose well. I think you curated well. I think you ordered nicely. Thank you for for bringing the audience along on that journey and for ending on such a nice note. So thank you. We've got some information down here. Albert should have your Amazon link posted in YouTube, because whatever we put down here, it's less useful because you can't quite click on it. But it should be there in YouTube as well. And just how I want to show here, a lot of people were hanging on your words, quoting some of their favorite lines.
It's so
Also-
weird to like see people's reactions.
Yeah, there are more. There are more in the stream, so I won't waste them right now. I did want to ask, how long did it take you to write all of those? What was the time period over which you wrote all of them?
So in the book there are 21, and some of them, like Contagion, I said, has been probably the longest coming. I kind of started writing that because writing is very much a healing process for me, and it's something that I've done my whole life. I love writing, so as some people know. So Contagion is probably the oldest, and my dad passed 12 years ago, so it might have been like 10 years ago I might have started writing that one, but there's a couple more in the book, like Salt Globes, Static. Those ones are older as well, but a lot of them I actually wrote over Christmas break last year.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a like competition thing, like in 20 days, write 20 poems or something like that. So it was a challenge for me that I wanted to do this. And if you succeeded, you succeeded, right? They sent a trophy and stuff. So I wrote them for that. And then they picked, I don't know, 30 people or something to publish through Bookleaf Publishing. Mine did not get picked for that. But I was like, it's already all written. It's already together. It's ordered. It has a title. It has a cover. I might as well just put it out there. So Amazon actually makes it really easy to do that when you already have everything done. So it was really easy for me. And I mean, I don't care that much if people buy it. Just the fact that it's out there. It's like, it's out there.
Do you have more poems on the way? Are you putting together a second collection?
I do. Actually, I've written a couple, like a lot in the past, and shared them. And when I published this one, I had some requests whether or not certain poems that I've shared in the past were in it. And since this one's like strictly based for my father, they aren't. But some people are familiar with my cat sonnets. I've written sonnets for my cats. And I guess they're a crowd favorite. So what I want to do is, similarly to last year, this year over the Christmas break, I want to put together another collection with some more lighthearted stuff, like my cat sonnets and some other love poems for the universe.
Wonderful, wonderful. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing all of those with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Take care. All right, we are going to get back to Mel with some more trivia questions. So,
Hey.
hello, Mel.
Hello. So.
Oh, one sec. The dog in the sandstorm. Jill may have placed it.
Oh, that
Maybe
would make sense. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll be a fun extra trivia thing to look at the images. We've got number 4, which is Laplace's Demon. Is that a self-help book title, an episode title of Star Trek The Next Generation, or a thought experiment?
I have a thought.
You have a thought?
I have a thought, but I'm not certain.
Okay. Well, we better go on to number 5 then.
I'm wondering if I should log in and start entering these myself. But yeah, so what's number 5?
Number 5 is Newton's Cannonball. So is that a self-help book, the episode title of Star Trek The Next Generation, or a thought experiment?
I have no idea about this one at all.
I googled Newton's Cannonball, and I came up with this Newton, and I realized I was not at all familiar with these.
Oh, okay. It's like a 90s era iPhone, I guess. I don't know.
Before my time.
Yeah. So then what's number 6?
Number 6 is Quiet. Is that a self-help book? Star Trek The Next Generation episode title? Or a thought experiment?
Equally lost at this as well. I do not know.
And just an animal. For you.
It's a bunny.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so we've just done 3 more. We'll see you in the second half of the show.
Okay.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, it's time for one more performer before we go to intermission. Our next performer has done over a half dozen performances, and actually probably about a dozen at this point. I really do need to check my notes. In previous acts, he's done thoughtful, he's done funny, he's done delicious, he's done educational. Tonight, I think he's going to do something I've never seen him do before. He's doing cute. Please welcome our next performer, Michael Davenport.
Hello, everyone. So, Bards is kind of like a late night talk show. You have people come on and talk about the art that they've made. You have musical acts. Sometimes you have stand-up. But you know what? Something I'm not sure if I've ever seen at Bards is an animal act. So I decided to take this Bards opportunity to show everyone chickens. Oh, you're over on that side of the cage. Come on. Come on. Gonna cheep? Gonna cheep? There you are. Hello. It is not computer magic. These are real chickens behind me. And I thought I'd take this opportunity to tell you 5 things I learned about handling chickens. Thing number 1, chickens are not dogs. So I grew up with dogs. I really like dogs. I think a couple people might know that. Dogs yearn for freedom and adventure, and if you let dogs out, they'll take off. I learned the hard way once. That's a different story. But chickens. Oh, hello. I'm out of frame, and so is the chicken, because the chicken wants to be here. Also, I didn't think through the camera thing. Chickens are not dogs. Okay. I'm going to, can you hold that? There we go. Mel is down here now. She's going to hold the thing. If you can coax the chickens back into frame, that'd be great. Second thing I learned, chickens do have personality. So we have 2 chickens here. Mel named them Mihai and Mo. Mihai, the brown one, has a sense of adventure. Mo, a little less so. Thing number 3, chickens do have, chickens grow fast. So we got these chickens 31 days ago. And when we got them, they were smaller than a tennis ball. I think there's a photo that Nadia can throw up here. Yeah, that is how big they used to be. And now, I still have the tennis ball. Now, the tennis ball has had its own little adventure being in a thing with chickens for a while, and they are much, much larger than the tennis ball now. Things I learned number 4, aim chicken away from face. So I've got my safety equipment here in case the chickens sit on my shoulder, which sometimes they like to do, or the top of my head. The chickens can and will peck you. I've been pecked in the eye twice. Once per eye, once per chicken. And yeah, it wasn't a malicious peck. It wasn't like, I'm going to show this mammal what for kind of peck. It was, pecking is how they interact with the world. And last but not least, 5th thing I have learned, never allow a chicken somewhere you wouldn't be okay with it pooping. Taking care of another living thing, certainties of life. There's death, there's taxes, and there's, if you're taking care of another living thing, you're going to be responsible for its poop. Chickens are like that. I'm going to change camera angles, and Josh, feel free to come back and ask some questions.
Hello. Those are adorable chickens.
zooming in here?
Zooming in. Thank you.
Yeah, because
Actually,
I'm not.
Before I have any questions, someone in our audience, Brian, had a question. Where did the chickens come from, and why are there chickens?
Okay, so one of our friends and friend of the theater, Sarah Rodriguez, has a farm, and she runs this program called like Chick Let's Rental. I think of it kind of like fostering, but I think some people think of it as a rental because you do give the chickens back, and they grow up on the farm. I think there's a banner. The banner's up. Yeah, so if you pay a small nominal amount of money, you get all the supplies you need, and you get to have the chickens in your life for a couple of months. And I think it's an exercise for children. Oh, yeah, Mel's going to feed them now. To learn about the cycle of life, and also learn that even if something is cute, it will generate a lot of poop.
Yeah, when you said aim chicken away from face, you were talking about the beak. I've raised children, so I was thinking about the other end. So about
I see.
you were thinking, what's the safe end to aim at your face and what's the dangerous end to aim at your face? They just seem dangerous.
The beak is definitely the dangerous end. I have been pooped on. The poops are fairly dry. Usually. Not always, but usually. If I had to choose one end, I would choose that end.
That's fair. That's fair. Carrie asks, will they lay eggs? When do they get old enough to lay eggs?
So I am not a farmer. I'm just a guy with chickens. And also, while I'm on the subject, Mel takes way more care of them than I do. I don't want to take credit for taking care of the chickens because they really like Mel. There's a photo we can throw up actually from this past weekend of, yeah, chicken on lap. They like Mel. They like me well enough too. They sit on my head. Anyway, to answer the question, Mel, you would know the answer to this. How long until they lay eggs?
About 6 months.
About 6 months.
Okay. How much longer do you have them till?
They're 1 month now, so another 5. I think they might both be males, though.
Yeah, Sarah thinks they are hens. That's the idea. They are supposed to be laying hens. We have them for another, I think, until the end of the month.
Okay, so a general rental through this program is about 2 months or so?
Probably the first week of June is when we'll return them.
Okay. So with this experience now, do you think you would want a permanent pet or to own chickens or anything?
I don't think I'd want to own chickens. I don't think I have a lifestyle that allows me to care for a living thing in more than spurts. Oh.
Big fire.
But I would definitely do this again.
Okay, great. I think we're about done with this. I'm out of questions. Was there anything else that you wanted to say before we moved on?
Well, Mel can't hear you, but I'll repeat that for her. Mel, is there anything you want to add before we move on?
No, they're sweet. Yeah, they poop a lot.
They do poop a lot, but they are very sweet, and they also mostly like each other. All right. Thanks for having us, Bards.
I'm getting more questions, so I'm going to draw this out a little bit longer if you're willing to. Is the program socializing the chickens or teaching urban farmers?
You know what? That is a good Sarah question. I'm sure socializing the chickens is part of it.
Yes.
Mel says yes. I don't know how much it's geared towards teaching urban farmers. I do know it's non-zero geared towards teaching children, though.
Teaching children, yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That's really
cool. With the chickens, we got a couple of educational booklets and a connect the dot puzzle. You'll never guess what the image was once you connected the dots. It was a chicken.
Yeah, it was a chicken. Fair. All right, I think we're good for now then. Thank you so much for sharing these chickens with us, Davenport and Mel. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Take care. All right, we're not going to do trivia after this one because Mel's a little bit predisposed at the moment. So we are instead going to go to intermission. It's intermission time, so help yourself to some refreshments if you can, and enjoy what just might be the last Bards intermission without a lineup at the bathroom. So imagine being in line for the bathroom at KWLT. Imagine being back in our theater space. Imagine how amazing our theater space might be with your donation. So while you're going off and doing things during intermission, consider maybe during that intermission or later tonight donating to KWLT. But in the meantime, I think we're all going to take a 5-minute break. We'll meet back here and we'll get back to the second half of Bards. Thank you very much. Hey, good evening and welcome back. This is the second half of Bards at Home 3. We started with Carrie, Emily, and Davenport and Mel with their chicks. And we've got 3 more performers for you tonight, and then a bit of a promo for KWLT's next show. So let's move things along. Our next performers met in 1994 while working at the Mutual Group in Waterloo. They quickly discovered common musical ground, including Indigo Girls and other similar groups. They sang together in larger bands with other musicians before they formed a duo, Fiona Isle, in 2012. Now, Fiona Isle has performed at Bards before, almost 5 years ago, and we're very happy to have them back tonight. So please welcome our pre-penultimate performers, Colin Roberts and Patty Patty McCaig, are Fiona Isle.
Thanks very much for having us. We're going to play a couple songs for you. The first one is a song of mine, and it's a song for somebody that I've worshipped for a long time from a very great distance. This is called She Is. All set?
Yeah.
I write the words I'd long to hear you say when we're alone, but divided by an audience, my true meaning remains unknown. Only ink's left on the paper where my heart came bleeding out. No clue remains between the lines to tell you what my play's about. She is the one who makes me whole. She is the one who makes me lose control. She is the one I want so much. She is the one I'll never touch. You always play my love scenes with a power that stops my heart, but it's always some more handsome man who gets to play my part. Oh, I will never hold your hand or run my fingers through your hair. You will never look in my eyes or tell me how much you care. She knows exactly what to say. She knows how to take my breath away. She is the loveliest I've known. She moves in different circles from my own. So set aside your scripted lines and show me what's inside. Let's second draft and polish phrase. No more my hiding place provide. Listen to their applause. Step forward, take your bow, and rest tonight without a care. Bring sleep's curtain down, for in my dream tonight, on that stage I will stand, and at the cue I'll come to you and gently take your hand. She is the one who makes me whole. She is the one who makes me lose control. She is the one I want so much. She is the one I'll never touch. She knows exactly what to say. She knows how to take my breath away. She is the loveliest I've known. She moves in different circles from my own. Thanks so much. Thanks again for having us. We're going to play our second and final song for you now. This is a song by Indigo Girls. There's a law, an unwritten law between us that whenever we perform, there's got to be some Indigo Girls music in there somewhere. So this satisfies that requirement for tonight. It's from the self-titled album, which is not their first album, but the Indigo Girls album, and it's called Blood and Fire. It features Patty because, of course, I got my feature in the first song, so of course it makes only sense to feature Patty in the second one. So this is Blood and Fire by Indigo Girls. All set?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for those songs. You know what? Before I say anything, I just want to throw up here. You've got a few of these waiting for you in the chat, especially that second one. But both of them, thank you so much. Those were great.
Very nice.
Our
Thank you for
pleasure.
sharing.
Yeah, thanks.
Patty, I am so sorry. McCaig. I said it in rehearsal and my tongue just failed me on camera. Patty
Nothing
McCaig,
makes
thank
me
you so
smile
much.
more than being called Patty Magoo, so it's all good.
Did I say that? I don't even know what
You
I
did.
said.
It's
Oh
all
no. For the fifth time this week, right? I'm
It's
so
all
sorry.
good.
So you've got a great setup there, great balances and stuff. It sounds like you've done this before. Have you done online shows over the last few years during the pandemic?
No, actually, no. This is our first attempt at something like this, so I'm glad it sounded good on your end.
Oh wow! I thought I was like leading up to a very easy answer there. So wow, that's great.
Sorry.
Now, with things opening up, do you have any shows coming up soon?
Yeah, as it turns out, we do. There's a porch party happening all through Kitchener on Saturday, June 18th, and we're going to be playing at that. So the way it's set up, as far as I understand it, Patty's the real expert, but there are 2 sets in the afternoon. So a set at 1 and then another set at 4, and all the performers shuffle locations between those times. So they're also a bit guarded about where people are going to be until I think the 1st of June or so.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I was about to ask you know where we can find you.
Yeah, we so I mean we'll put it on the website, which thank you for putting that up there. But yeah, on the website we'll post where we're going to be when we know. But it'll be somewhere in Kitchener, and you'll be able to, if you want to follow us around, you can see us once at 1 and then again at 4 p.m. at some other spot.
That's
but
great.
You should also take the chance to see lots of other performers instead of just seeing us twice, because there are going to be lots of great people playing that afternoon. So
yeah, that seems like a great way to take in a lot of people. That's great.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Anything else to say before we go?
No, just thanks again for having us. We really enjoyed it, and donate to KWLT if you can, and enjoy the rest of the night.
Thank you so much.
you.
Good night, both of you.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, we are gonna keep moving on. We're gonna bring Mel back for another round of 3 more questions.
Hey.
Hello, Mel. We're back.
So yeah, once again, we've got our choices.
The
Number
Chinese
7,
room.
yeah, it's The Chinese Room. Is that a self-help book, an episode title of Star Trek: The Next Generation, or the name of a thought experiment?
I'm gonna say that. So here's the problem. Like, I don't want to read that self-help book. It sounds like it was written in the 70s, and it's probably offensive. I don't want to watch that Star Trek: The Next Generation episode, and it doesn't sound like the nicest thought experiment either.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, like, if this is any help, when I looked at the names of self-help books, and I was aiming for like kind of like the 100 most well-known or best-selling ones in the last like 70 years. So you know, but that's a fairly broad range. I don't know if that'll help.
I'm gonna say it's a thought experiment just because I would not like the other 2 to be true. So let's go on to number 8.
More of a Star Trek original series.
Yes.
Number 8, the Icarus Factor.
This is very TOS sounding, actually.
Is that a self-help book? An episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, or is it a thought experiment?
All right. I know what my guess is. So yeah, let's move on. What's number 9?
Number 9, we've got The Impossible Barber. Is that self-help book?
Wait a minute here. You've got a barber from TNG who's also known to be a bald barber. So is this a trick question?
Well, that's Mott, if I'm remembering the name correctly.
I think you are right, actually. Yeah.
I don't know. Is it a trick question?
It might be. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We're gonna head back to the Bards now, and we'll see you after our next one. Thank you, Mel.
Bye.
All right. So we're moving on to our 5th performer, who KWLT fans will recognize from many appearances on stage, including an award-winning portrayal of a shrub. Her past Bards performances have generally been musical or comedic or both. Tonight she is doing something a little bit different for us. I'll take this moment right now to mention that her performance focuses on abortion and U.S. politics. It's about 4 minutes long, in case you're not in the headspace to take that in right now. So please welcome to the stream our pro-penultimate performer, For a penultimate performer, Heather McDonald.
We wanted to address the controversy about our recently leaked majority opinion to overturn Roe v. Wade. A lot of folks are taking to social media and talk shows to discuss how this will cause dissent in the courts, incite riots in the public square, and threaten the future of our institution. Well, that may be so. But if we weren't ready for a decision to come into the world at this moment, then we should have abstained from writing it in the first place. Abstinence is the only true way to prevent a majority opinion from being leaked to the press. But did we let that stop us? No. We gave in to our base desires and wrote as if there would be no consequences. Some commentators have called this leak a violation, but really that's on us for dressing the opinion up so much and giving it those sexy citations. We should have covered it in encryption software and locked it away until it was ready for a permanent marriage to the American people. Besides, if this was a legitimate violation, the system has a way of shutting that sort of thing down. The majority opinion obviously wanted what it got. Some of our more experienced judges begged us to use protection. They offered us firewall technology, blockchain resources, even a simply safe membership. But without proper education, judges are not going to use those options. Instead, we're going to raw dog it and write it in an outdated Microsoft Word document in broad daylight and send it BCC over Outlook with a subject line like top secret document. And if we're going to pass our majority opinion around like a popsicle and let everyone have a lick, then we really can't complain when someone takes advantage of it. That's on us. Also, I should note that some of us were drinking on the day that the majority opinion was leaked. Some of us famously like beer. But that's on us. We chose to lower our inhibitions and we deserve to face the consequences. Speaking of consequences, this data breach will almost certainly harm the legitimacy of our court. It's impacted the relationships between us and the people around us. It may make us and our families less stable. It will cost us financially as we pay for security at home and in public. It will have a lasting effect on our daily lives. With these stakes in mind, there is a world in which we could say, abort this majority opinion. We could change our minds about forcing someone to give their body's organs over to the state after someone else has committed a crime against them. But that's not how mistakes work. Mistakes are meant to follow you around for the rest of your life and re-traumatize you as often as possible, with the noted exception of 2 male members of our court. And so, we stand before you with our unwanted child, this majority opinion, and humbly demand that you adopt it. Are bad that it exists, but it's your problem now.
Thank you, Heather. Heather couldn't make it for Q&A tonight, but she did want to credit Joanna Castle-Miller as the author of that monologue, which you can find at McSweeney's online. She'd also like to send a special thanks to Ash Kreider and Alicia Reed. We're fortunate to have a sexual health center in the region, the Shore Center. Reproductive health care is healthcare. If you'd like to help protect reproductive rights in Canada, in the province, in the region, or if you're looking for sexual health resources, take a look at the Shore Center. It's a great resource that we have available to us here in the Waterloo region. Before we move on to our last performer, let's bring Mel out for some more trivia.
Hey, we're back
Hello, welcome back.
to the Masterpiece Society.
I believe you mean the Monsterpiece Society. Excellent picture choice here.
Cookie. Oh, hey, I do have stroopwafel next to my desk. So, the Masterpiece Society
Is
is
it a
that?
self-help book, a
Yes.
strategy, or a thought experiment?
Oh, you can take over. Yes, that would
All
be.
right. Yeah.
It's not a great title for really any of those.
For any of them, yeah.
Number 11, The Thought
Exchange.
Exchange. Is that a self-help book, a Star Trek The Next Generation episode title, or a thought experiment?
I'm really lost on this one. I'm going to guess it's a self-help book because I'm pretty sure it's not a TNG episode, and it seems like poor writing to put thought in a thought experiment. Like, that's not a good title of anything. So my money's on self-help book with this one.
Fair.
All right.
And finally, well, not finally, but for now, finally,
Yeah.
number 12.
That's the
Traveler's-
Traveler from TNG. Mel, what are you doing?
Is this a self-help book?
Okay.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, which I hear somebody else is the Traveler. I'm not caught up on Star Trek Picard. Don't spoil it for me. And or a thought experiment.
We're on a delay. Can we hold something back here? All right. I want to say thought experiment.
Well,
Okay.
we'll have to see later.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was 12. So we'll see you for the last 3 questions, 13 through 15, after our last performer.
Yeah.
See you later. All right, thank you. Our final performer is here as a longtime Bards performer and actually predates me on this stage by a few years. She played Wednesday Addams in KCI's production of the Addams Family musical in 2017. And in 2018, she starred as Tilly in KWLT's own production of She Kills Monsters. She's really excited to return to performing in general after a 4-year hiatus while earning her degree in London. And we at Bards are very excited to have her back here. Can everyone please welcome our final performer of the night, Julia Zinn.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be back. It's been a long time since I've performed, so it's nice to be back in our little community theater, aka my basement. So thank you all for having me. Now, while I've grown up a little bit since I last performed, my song choices have not. So the first song I will be singing tonight is Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here, you'd think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I've got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them again? Oh yeah, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along down the, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? What would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand? Betcha on land they understand, but they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know what the people know. Ask them some questions and get some answers, like what's a fire and why does it, what's the word, burn? When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore the shore above, out of the sea? Wish I could be part of that world. All right, well, thank you for listening to that first song. As Josh mentioned, the last musical show that I was in was the Addams Family musical at my high school. So in kind of a little throwback nostalgia moment to that, the next song that I will be singing is Pulled from the Addams Family. So I hope you enjoy it. I used to use guitar and piano, and now I'm using tracks. So we will just wait for this ad on YouTube. All right, brought to you by Old Navy. I don't have a sunny disposition. I'm not known for being too amused. My demeanor's locked in one position. See my face, I'm enthused. Suddenly, however, I've been puzzled. Bunny rabbits make me want to cry. All my inhibitions have been muzzled, and I think I know why. I'm being pulled in a new direction, but I think I like it. I think I like it. I'm being pulled in a new direction. Through my painful pursuits, somehow birdies took root. All the things I detested, impossibly cute. God, what do I do? Mother always said be kind to strangers, but she doesn't know what they destroy. I can feel some clear and present dangers when she learns that the boy has got me pulled in a new direction. But I think I like it. I think I like it. I'm being pulled in a new direction. And this feeling I know is impossible, so I'll confide that I've tried, but I can't let it go. It's disgustingly true. Pulled, pulled, pulled. Puppy dogs with droopy faces, unicorns and dancing mice, sunrise in wide open spaces, Disney worlds all go there twice. Butterflies at picnic lunches, bunches of chrysanthemums, lollipops and pillow fights, Christmas Eve, sugar plums, string quartets and chia pets and afternoon banana splits, angels watching as I sleep, Liberace's greatest hits have got me pulled in a new direction. If they keep insisting, I'll stop resisting. Just watch me pulled in a new direction. I should stay in the dark, not obey every spark, but the boy has a bite better far than his bark. You bet I'll bite too, do what's truly taboo, as I'm pulled in a new direction. All right.
Julia, thank you so much. Thank you for coming out tonight. That was
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Welcome back to performing.
Yes, thank you all for having me and bringing me back to the stage. This was a lot of fun, and I'm glad to be back with such a wonderful community. So
Thank you. We just love having you here. Are we your first audience after your graduation?
yes, you are. You're after, since She Kills Monsters, this is the first time I've performed at all. So
like 4 full years of not performing. Yeah.
Yes, only for my apartment neighbors on rare occasions through the walls.
So where were you? Were you at Western in London?
Yeah, so I was at Western at King's University College there, studying psychology and thanatology, which is the study of death, dying, grief, and loss.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. It's a gorgeous school. It's a great school. My parents met there actually, so I've got a soft spot for Western. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So do you have your eye on any new productions coming up? Do you think you'll be auditioning this year?
I don't know. I hope so. If not, I will certainly be in the audience. I'm really looking forward to seeing Falling Awake. So I hope to see some of you in the audience there as well. And yeah, we'll see if I return to the stage, but certainly back in the audience sometime soon.
Great. Before you go, I just wanted to float a few things up here.
Yay!
And so good.
Thank you all.
There are more in the chat for when you head back to YouTube or whatever. But yeah, we wanted to say thank you so much and have a great evening.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care. Bye. All right. So that is the end of our performers. But before we go, we have a little bit more trivia with Mel and then a promotion. So let's bring Mel out for Trivia Corner.
Hey.
Hello, Mel.
Got our last three.
13, 14, and 15. Tin
Man. Tin Man. Are you gonna go ahead and do my job? Or?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You can. Or, is the heartless Tin Man, Josh Hoey? Is it a self-help book for Josh Hoey? Is it an episode title of Star Trek: The Next Generation for Josh Hoey?
For Josh Hoey.
Or is it a thought experiment being performed on Josh Hoey right now?
No, I am doing your job. I know what this one is. In fact, I've heard of this one. Yep.
Number 14, Waking the Tiger. Is this a self-help book, Star Trek: The Next Generation episode title, or the name of a thought experiment? In any of these instances, it sounds sort of dangerous.
They do. I want this to be a self-help book. I want the tiger to be you, and you can wake your own tiger, sort of thing. That's my guess.
And finally, we have number 15, Who Will Cry When You Die? Is that a self-help book title, an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, or the name of a thought experiment?
I know that this is a trick question. This is a Star Trek Discovery episode title, because that's how that show rolls. All right. Oh, and that's 15. This is our last one, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so if everyone who has been playing at home with their forms can get those answers in, we'll get those things tallied. Thank you so much, Mel. We'll see you at the end for the answers. All right, so we're at the end of the main event, but that doesn't mean that we're done for tonight. Once you've got your trivia things, what? Okay, well, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Danny Rosenbaum, the director of KWLT's next show, Falling Awake. Is she here? Welcome to the stream, Danny. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Josh. My sound has been going a little bit weird, speeding up and slowing down. I could hear it fine on the TV, but now through my headphones, I'm not 100% sure. But I think I might be able to make it work.
Okay, well, let's see. I know you've been busy lately. Can you tell us what you're up to?
I've been having tech difficulties all night, guys. I'm really sorry. Let me see if I can finagle my audio.
Try disconnecting and coming back.
Like it was working a second ago, just until as soon as you were like, "Let's go to Danny," and
Yes, like that. That's how technology works. Go on. Can you go on speaker? Hi, everyone. We're celebrating a return of going back in theater with a recreation of every Zoom meeting you've been in for the last 2 years.
yeah. So I tried turning off the speakers, and that's not working either because it's your end coming through to me for some reason.
Okay.
Give me a quick. I'll be right back. Give me 1 sec.
I'll tell you what. Can we? Do we have time for trivia now, or should I just vamp for a little bit? We're just going to get a signal from Mel and see if we are good to swap these last 2 segments around. Getting a kind of a thumbs up. The chickens can come back, says Davenport. Why don't we see some chickens? This is like a nice little, yeah. Technical difficulties. Chickens. Put them up on full, Nadia. Okay.
Yay, chickens!
You know what? Let's bring Danny back as well. We've at least got chickens. Hello, Danny. All right, why don't we move on to trivia for now? Yep.
Hello.
Hello. Wasn't expecting that stinger again. Sometimes things happen. So yeah, are we ready to go over some answers?
Yeah, hopefully everyone has submitted their answers because we're going on to them. All right, number 1, you kind of gave it away. It is Zeno's paradox. That's exactly what Achilles and the tortoise is. So that's if the tortoise is a little bit in front, and
Is Zeno's
Achilles
paradox.
makes it halfway, then the tortoise gets a little bit further, and he can just never quite get there.
Okay. I'm getting a thumbs up from Danny, by the way, so we will go to you as soon as we're done with trivia. Thank you.
Okay. Nadia, I don't know if you wanted to show any results in between.
Yeah, no, we're jumping around a little bit in schedule here, so we'll see. You know what? Before we do results, do we just want to jump to the second question? We'll keep things moving a bit.
Sure. All good things. It is all good things must come to an end, which is
the finale.
The finale, part 1 and part 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
One of maybe the greatest finales of modern TV, I would say. It's really good.
Number 3, Hollow Pursuits. That's the one where Barclay turns out has a whole like musketeers and I don't know, Deanna's a goddess and things like that. Maybe you shouldn't spend so much time in. Oh,
here we go.
We're seeing. Okay, so
most people knew that one.
Yeah.
Yep. And then going back on question 2, most people knew that one.
Mm-hmm.
And question 1, it was a thought experiment. Most people knew that one too. Yeah.
So, you helped people out there.
Doesn't sound. Yeah, I may have. Let's see how much.
That's fine.
I don't know these in advance, by the way.
You make good guesses. You're a smart person.
TNG fan.
that too. Number 4, Laplace's demon is a thought experiment.
Okay.
To do with entropy, physics thing. Don't ask me to explain because I can't explain physics. Ask Davenport. I don't know.
It troubled him. So yeah.
Yeah. And no, I guess people know physics here.
Sounds good. Number 5.
Number 5 is Newton's cannonball, and here's a diagram explaining Newton's cannonball as a thought experiment.
Yeah.
This explains it much better than I could explain it.
Yeah. It's can you shoot a cannonball strong enough that gravity makes it curve back and hit you? Yeah.
Yes. But yes, so escape velocity. Number 6 is Quiet by Susan Cain. Is a self-help book.
Okay.
I think I actually have a copy, or at least I've read a copy. She also has a good TED Talk about the power of introverts.
A little bit of a split, but yeah, people got that one too.
Yeah.
All right, number 7, The Chinese Room. Thankfully, a thought experiment. Good.
It is, and it's if you put a person inside of a room who's trying to translate input in Chinese, and they don't know Chinese, but they have a book or as many books as they need, and then put a message out, would there be any difference between them and a computer?
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And like, you know, what counts as intelligence and stuff like that.
Hopefully not a self-help book. All right. Number 8, The Icarus Factor.
The Icarus Factor. It is an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. It's the one with the pain sticks.
I didn't know it was the one with the pain sticks. It's also the one with Riker's dad, isn't it?
Yes, the one with the
Q-tip fighting.
Yes, I was gonna say, like, that kind of harkens back to the last one because it's like uncomfortable East Asian stuff, but we're just gonna go past that.
Okay. So people knew that one. Yeah. All right, number 9.
Number 9, The Impossible Barber, which is a good example in where Mott is bald, because it's a paradox, a philosophical paradox, so that if the barber must shave everybody but does not shave himself, then he's a man that does not shave himself and therefore must shave himself.
I see. Okay. All right. Did people? Oh, very spread. Yeah, I thought
about 50%.
I thought that was a self-help book. Yeah.
Number 10 is The Masterpiece Society. It's this one. It's the eugenics bubble one. Yeah. Also an uncomfortable topic from Star Trek. But I'm guessing a lot of people probably remember that episode title. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not a thought experiment, though. All right, number 11.
Number 11 is The Thought Exchange. I haven't read this book, but David Friedman sounds like a vaguely familiar name.
Yeah. All right.
See how people did. Oh, most
people. That one. People like me thinking you can't call a thought experiment the thought exchange. So good on them.
Well, it's sort of like the Chinese Room, except.
Yeah.
Number 12, The Traveler's Gift. The image I had up before was
the Traveler.
Yeah, that was not a hint. That was a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
It's a self-help book.
You know what? In fairness, I would have guessed that was a thought experiment. Wow, which won out actually. Yeah. So a lot of people thinking the way I was. I would have called that a thought experiment. All right, number 13, Tin Man.
Tin Man, or as Picard says repeatedly, Tin Man. Like, he really emphasizes that second word.
Well, he's French, you know. Yeah.
A very British French.
Very British French, yeah. Very good. Everybody, people know that one. It's a pretty memorable episode.
Number 14, Waking the Tiger. It is about healing trauma.
Oh, okay.
Actually, so I haven't read this one, but apparently it's pretty popular.
Yeah, it sounds like a self-help book. I wouldn't have called trauma. I would have guessed like being more aggressive or assertive and like building up your own confidence.
That's fair.
Yeah. And then
number 15. It's speaking of aggressive titles, it's kind of a weirdly aggressive title to say, "Who will cry when you die?"
I'm glad it's a self-help book. I would have been terrified at that thought experiment.
I think it's really important to have that subtitle, Life Lessons from the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Otherwise, it's just very like, do I want to read this book?
Yeah.
And really a kind of a bad gift to give to people.
Yeah.
And
it's certainly not a TNG title.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I've forgotten about this. Do we have winners, or do we figure that out later, or how does that work? Oh, Nadia's like, we can.
Nadia would know.
Yeah.
I don't have it up.
Like, yes. And the winner is.
Give me a moment.
Well, I'm gonna do a longer drum roll. I've got a keyboard in my lap, so it's just gonna. Do.
Davenport. Okay, Laura.
One sec. Oh, is these people with 15 right answers?
These are these are all the people who answered.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. You know what? We can come back to that later. we can let the winners know later on. Let's get to Danny with Falling Awake. Thank you, Mel. Danny, hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay. Yes. Can you
Good.
hear us?
Thank goodness. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Great. So let's go ahead. You've been busy for the last few months. What have you been up to?
One thing and one thing only, which is everything involved in putting a show together. It's been a lot, and this is, of course, my first time directing, so a lot of it's brand new to me, and it's great, but I'm tired.
That is fair. That is fair. How has it been different, from directing versus your other roles and shows, and like rehearsing during a pandemic? How has that been?
Those are both very good questions. So in terms of differences between directing and acting, it's really like night and day. I can't even begin to explain how weird it is to be behind the table and being the one making the decisions, because I realize now I'm not great at like making confident decisions. So that's been a really fun challenge for me. In terms of rehearsing during a pandemic, that has been well, we're lucky that we have a very small cast. It's just 3 actors, and we don't have all 3 actors at every show, at every rehearsal. And then there's 3 of us in the crew that are at every show, again, rehearsal. We are rapid testing before every rehearsal, and the crew are staying masked the whole time. Yep. The actors are not being masked so that we can see their lovely faces. And we are keeping up with that pattern, and so far so good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. It's good to see you keeping safe.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the show itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So Falling Awake is a play written by Gary Kirkham, who is a local playwright in KW. And it tells the story of a couple, Harold and Elsie, who live on a chicken farm in an isolated town implied to be somewhere in Ontario. They are going about their everyday lives when one night a plane explodes above their field, and the debris from the explosion is sort of scattered all around their land. And one of the pieces of debris, so to speak, is a young man who is dead, but still strapped in his airplane seat. And the story ensues. It's a story of Harold and Elsie kind of grappling with the very sudden shift in their lives, and also how that the presence of the boy affects them and things that they feel and experience and have experienced in their pasts.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'm glad.
So you're the first show back in KWLT.
Yes.
How does that feel? It's kind of like hopeful and optimistic, maybe in spite of some of the subject matter. How does it feel opening up the theater again?
It feels amazing. I was in the theater ever so briefly for March Madness a few months ago, and we've been doing our rehearsals partly at Gawkel and partly at the theater, and it's just amazing to even be in that space again. It feels like coming home. And the ability to have the privilege of being the first show to come back is enormous, and I am so grateful that the board sort of stuck with me and that we maintained the rights this whole time, because it was almost 2 years of really uncertainty in terms of how or if this show would ever happen, and now it's happening, and I can't put into words how excited I am.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask if this was like early in the pandemic or pre-pandemic that you'd even pitched this or started working on this. So
yeah, I pitched it. So I started thinking about it in 2017, 2018. I pitched it for the 2020 season, and the 2020, 2021 season, and was accepted. but the announcement I don't think actually had gotten made until after everything closed down. So it was this is our eventual future shows, and I think mine is the only one that managed to retain the rights throughout the crews were not able to keep up the work. I don't know the specifics, obviously. I just know that they called me and they were like, "You got 3 people in this play, and you seemed excited. Are you still excited?" And I have not
And a
stopped.
local playwright. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and having a local players gate. Actually, Gary has been at a couple of the rehearsals. He just done a little workshop with us, talking about like a sort of a listening exercise, and a bit about sort of how we show emotion with our bodies. Really interesting material for, in particular, the actor playing the boy, who is still on stage for the entire time, but is played by a real actor, a very wonderful young man, and it's really interesting to watch the interplay between the characters, even though he doesn't speak. His presence does change how the actors feel and behave on the stage.
Nice. So, with it reopening the theater, but we're still in a pandemic. I know that we have some special nights set aside for I think it's limited occupancy. Can you tell us about that a bit? And while you do, some dates are going to start popping up on the screen. But go ahead.
Yep, absolutely. So, as you can see, the dates on the screen: June 9th to 11th, 16th to 18th, and 23rd, 25th. Now, all of the performances, masks are going to be required for patrons while they're in the lobby and milling about. But for 3 separate performances, 1 per week, there's going to be we'll be at 50% occupancy to allow for better social distancing. Masks will be required throughout the theater, and there will be no eating or drinking in the theater itself, in the black box, because of that. And we will also be asking people to show their vaccine passports, their QR codes. And those 3 nights are Friday, June 10th, Saturday, June 18th, and Thursday, June 23rd. We tried to have one of each of the days of the week to try and accommodate as many people's schedules as possible.
That's great. So if you can't make a Friday, you can make one of the other weeks at least.
Exactly. We're hoping that. I also I didn't actually mention this to you, but I suppose I can plug this because it is mostly confirmed. We are going to have Gary Kirkham at one of the performances at the at Friday, the June 24th performance. He'll be coming for a bit of a talk back, which I'm really excited about, because listening to him talk about this play is what made this all happen. He told one story about a play, and I was hooked from the beginning.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing all this with us.
Thank you so much for letting me come in. Yeah.
Break a leg with your show.
Thank you. Yes, I will pass it on to the actors and the rest of the crew.
Great. All right. Take care. Good night. All right. So first off, going back, is it trivia that you wanted me to mention, Nadia?
Yeah, it's in the front chat.
Yeah. The winner is Jen with 14 out of 15 answers. So congratulations, Jen. And with that, to be honest, there isn't much left from me. So I just want to thank some people and call us out. So thank you to our 6 acts tonight. That's Carrie, Emily, Davenport, Colin and Patty as Fiona Isle, Heather and Julia. Thank you, Mel, for your trivia. Thank you, Albert, for spending the evening with our lovely audience and being one of the people who can hear them thank you right now. Thank you, Nadia, for making this run so smoothly. Can you say hello? Oh, hello. There she is. And finally, thank you, audience, for coming out tonight. I hope to see you all again soon. Good night.